Hello guys, I'm here with the one and only Blitz. Thank you for joining me for this interview, man. I really
Absolutely no problem.
appreciate it. How are you enjoying the event so far?
It's nice. It's long. Week-long events are always long, but I like ESL and the event itself is a good time. The games are good.
Are you having a good time in Poland?
I never get to see Poland. I work from like 9 p.m. to like 11 p.m. or 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. So I don't have any time to go out.
So it's just the hotel, the arena, the hotel, the arena.
Yes,
Well, hopefully you have some time after the event is over.
I hope so.
Are you going to attend the Bucharest major as well?
No,
No, you're.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so you'll be free. I mean, you have some free time after that to explore here and there. So yeah, um, what is your opinion on the current state of the game slash meta? Do you enjoy it?
I do enjoy it. I think it's interesting. I think back in the past, like mid lane mattered a lot more, whereas nowadays it's like this weird situation where people move the side lanes a lot. They move it so much that like nobody's really a safe laner anymore, right? Your
Yeah.
off laner can even play mid in this meta. Like it changes very often, and it matters. Like these lanes matter a lot. Like these teams value lanes, so they're willing to just move things around like nonstop. And I think it's interesting. It makes a lot more heroes viable. Like it makes you be able to be more creative, which I think is good.
Yeah, it feels like the teams are kind of exploring what
Yeah.
they can do currently on the meta, which is yeah, nice thing. Um, Recently, it was announced that the patches will no longer be coming in one single batch every, let's say, 6 months.
Yeah.
They will arrive more frequently now. What do you think of this change?
I think the good part about it is that if there's a hero that like you would consider to be broken or too good, you'll obviously see changes to it a bit faster.
Yep.
But at the same time, like I enjoyed the really big, you don't know what's coming. Like it's
Yeah.
gonna be a surprise. Like I think it's very interesting when it just like happens all at once.
And it was always so big that it
Yeah.
changed the meta completely.
Yeah.
Everything was scrambled when they introduced map changes, new heroes, whatever. It was
Yeah.
really a major thing.
You knew something exciting and large was happening. It wasn't gonna just be like a standard thing that was gonna happen. It was gonna be this like massive bit, and I thought that part was very fun.
Yeah, it's a valid point. What do you think of the Dota Pro circuit system and how they award points currently only for top four? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it wouldn't necessarily matter, as Triple C said, if they award points for teams below fourth place, they will get only just a small amount of points that wouldn't matter anyway. So do you think it's okay to be like this? What is your
Uh,
opinion?
I think I think top six or 16 team major is acceptable. I think right now, like, top four is a bit hard.
In,
But, like, it feels busy. The schedule feels very busy. There's a
yeah.
lot going on at all times, and that part's kind of rough, but I'm sort of okay with it. I think they'll tinker around and tweak it and maybe make it so that more points are available further down the line, but I'm not sure.
Do you think that sorry? Do you,
Sorry.
do you think that the system should be different for majors and minors in that sense?
I don't know, because winning a minor feels very, like, it doesn't feel like a whole lot.
Yeah, it's underwhelming.
Yeah, I think even getting third here rewards more points than
I believe so.
winning a
Yes.
minor, and so that part feels a little bit rough. But I'm sure what'll happen is like once everything's done, they'll see how the points were distributed and like where the majority of the points came from, and then adjust off of that.
Wasn't this kind of the idea? Don't you think that this was kind of the idea behind the decision from Valve to make minors more of a tier two tournaments, so that tier one teams are only focusing on majors due
Yeah,
to the point distribution?
yeah, but unfortunately that didn't really happen, right?
Yes, yeah.
Everyone just went to everything is the thing.
Yeah, everyone is trying their best because, as you mentioned, it's really stacked and it's not possible to think that one team will be able to qualify for every single event out
Yeah,
there. As recently we saw, EG lost a qualifier match against Complexity.
yeah,
So, in that sense, it's a lot of opportunities that different teams can take,
yeah.
and it's up to them to utilize them in the best way possible. Okay, let's head into another direction. What would be your suggestion? What can you recommend for an up and coming caster or analyzer to focus on in order to make it out on the scene?
So in the past, I used to think that it mattered to be good at the game or that you had to follow a lot of stuff. But I think the most important thing is just like you have to get people to like you.
Yep.
I think that's the most important, because if your audience enjoys you, all the other stuff really doesn't matter. So working on making sure that you identify with your audience and that your audience can identify with you is probably the most important piece of advice, rather than like playing a lot of games and stuff. Because sure, you can play a lot of games and it'll help your general knowledge, but the thing that matters more, like when you're on a broadcast, is like charisma, that people like you, that they want to listen to you. Then a lot of these like other qualities don't matter as much, I think.
Yeah, so it's more like being able to be a good entertainer
Yes.
rather than being the best analyzer or the person with the best knowledge
Yeah,
of the
I
game
think
out
so.
there. Yeah, that's a valid point. Another question that actually popped in my mind just now, for Epicenter, they announced this caster contest.
Yeah.
What do you think of this idea?
I think it's interesting, but the downside is like they invited. I think the idea was a lot cooler than the
Yeah,
execution.
yeah, it turned out to be not the best thing. I saw that they invited like grandgrant, and I was
Yeah.
like, what? It was supposed to be a up and coming caster, like
Yeah.
a person from the community that no one knew, and then they have those people that they're
Yeah.
kind of popular as they are. So yeah, the execution was something that we can argue it was not the best.
Yeah, because
But
I think I love Grant. Shout out to Grant. He's one of my favorite people on the scene. When I get really down, he always DMs me. But I think even he would say it was like kind of defeats the purpose. Like, yeah, he hasn't casted a major, but he's a very good caster. And so it feels like the deck is a little bit stacked.
Yeah.
Like in the future, I'm sure they'll adjust it so that I mean all these things kind of like you'll do it the first time, it won't be perfect. Then the second time around, you'll do it. If Grant, I think he'll wins, then obviously he won't be a part of the next competition. Maybe they'll just invite him in the future, and that would be the solution to all of this.
Yeah, it's a valid point. Another question that actually I thought right now it's all on the fly, guys. What do you think of the situation with? I don't want to go in depth with the reasoning behind this, but what do you think of the situation that occurred with Galaxy Battles? Do you think that there should be some more precise restrictions to who is able to host minors and majors, and more strict of a guideline from Valve
Uh, I mean,
to avoid a situation like this in the first place?
I think the upside and downside of Valve is that for the most part they kind of want a hands-off approach, and they only want to step in when they feel is necessary.
Like
But
they did.
yeah, exactly. But it does mean that to avoid future situations, like some clarity is needed, right? Like the language, for example, like with the whole streaming controversy and with like some of the streamers getting banned by ESL and stuff like that. I feel like that would have been avoidable because it was just two people that interpreted things a different way, right? Like the
Yes.
streamers felt it was one way, and ESL as a company thought it was another way.
Yeah, because it was not set in a clear way from Valve
Yeah.
in the first place.
And not to blame Valve, but I think like going forward, it should be a little bit more clear like what they expect,
Yeah.
and so that people can kind of try to meet those restrictions a little bit better.
Yeah, just to point out, it's not about pointing fingers to people and blaming
course.
this and that. It's about getting things out clarified and in a more clear manner for
Yeah.
everyone out on the scene. Okay, so I have a fanboy question because I really enjoy your casting
Thank you.
when you pair with Capitalist.
I do too.
In my opinion, you two are the best casting duo out there.
I appreciate
For
that.
me personally, you're the Tastosis of Dota.
Oh, thank you.
So, do you think that you and Cap have a special synergy between each other, or for you personally, it doesn't really matter who's your casting duo, the
Oh
casting
no,
pair?
not to like throw any shade to anybody, but I enjoy Cap the most because we're really good friends outside of the game.
Yeah.
We talk, we hang out, like it's very genuine in that regard. Like I really love that guy. Like when something happens to him, I want to know about it. When something happens to me, he's the first person that like messages me. I recently had kind of a rough time in the past like 2 weeks, and he was always like the first person asking me how I was, if I was okay. So like our relationship, it extends outside the game, and that's why we can have these kinds of like relationships inside the game, where it's like he can tell me if I did a bad job, and that's like a bond that is hard for a lot of people because when you take personal criticism, people feel as if it's an attack on you, right? Like
Yes.
if I say I think you did a bad job here, a lot of people will take that very personally because they might think like I don't like you. But that's not the case at all with me and Cap. Is he can say, I think you did a bad job. Here's why, and I can take that because I love him like a brother. And so I think it's a very special relationship.
Yep, I really hope that on more tournaments we have the chance to see you too because of this special energy that I mentioned. I feel because I have been a caster myself
Yeah.
with my best friend, and I know how important it is to cast with somebody that you feel comfortable casting with.
Yes.
But just wanted to see if this is your point of view as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for sharing this little piece of information. Another personal question that I want to ask. Back in the time you were like your weight was more, you weighted more,
Yeah.
so you lost some weight
Yeah.
with I assume happened with your friendship with Rezo when you
Yeah.
started hitting the gym with him.
Yeah.
How's it going for you? Are you still going to the gym with him? Do you still keep in touch?
Oh, every day. I love Roman. Like he is one of the people outside of Dota that when I quit Dota and everything is said and done, I will try very hard to keep in touch with and try to see when I can. When I first started, he provided me with a lot of motivation. Because I don't know if you know Roman, but he's very like, it's not that he's mean, but he's very forward. Like he's very honest.
Yeah.
So he'll, like I'll say I lost 5 pounds, and he'll poke my stomach, and he'll say not enough. And like when I couldn't lift enough weight, he would do it himself to show me that, he's like, look how much stronger I am. And it was very fun. Like it made it so that it challenged me, because that's the kind of person I am. Is I don't work well with positive reinforcement. It's just how my parents did it. They were very negative with me. He said, you need to do more, you can do more, and it pushed me, and I like that a lot. And he always asked me at events, he always poke my stomach and say like, what have you done lately? And so like I love it. So like whenever I can work out with him and like do stuff with him, like for sure. He probably was the most important person for my weight loss, honestly.
I've been through this myself, the weight loss. I've
Yeah.
lost a lot of weight, and I can say that you look way better now.
course.
I'm pretty sure that you feel way better.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty good motivation for everyone out there that is wondering if they should start. Just go ahead and do it. Try it for yourself. Start running. Start hitting the gym. Just do anything. And when you start feeling the results, you'll see how it is worth it and how it will change your life in a positive manner.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't keep you busy for long. I just have one final question. I couldn't restrict myself from asking this one.
By all means.
What do you think about the Storm Spirit in the current patch?
Oh man, he's pretty rough right now, because the problem with him is that like he's not so good in the laning phase, and everyone dual lanes in mid, and so they abuse that fact. And then when you don't get dual laned, the one-on-one is very hard to begin with. And then when you hit the mid game, it feels as though like his damage is very mediocre, and so it just feels as though like every part of his game is just it doesn't feel very good. Like there's no part of Storm, unless it's super late game, where I'm just like, yes, I got to play Storm Spirit. That was so good.
So, what do you suggest a change for this hero would be?
Give
Like-
him 20 mana regen per set. I don't know. Like
Whoa! This sounds like the exceptional ideas from from.
I'm biased, so I can't. I don't know what to say about that. Like
Well, we will leave this to Ice Rock, I guess.
yeah. It's like I can't objectively answer that question, because I can't give you really honestly how I feel about how I would fix them.
Okay, well, thank you very much for this interview. I appreciate your time. Hopefully, we'll be able to see each other on a lot more
Absolutely,
tournaments.
this was great. Thank you.
You're welcome.